Morning everyone, coming on to do a tutorial, and it's this card here. I'm going to kind of replicate. I did originally do this, and I will be doing the same again, but just slightly different. The colours will be different, and the border won't be big, and it will be slightly further up. So we're going to get cracking, and I'll show you what we're going to do. So I've got an A6 sheet of card here. Jaden, will you shut the bathroom door, please? A6 cardstock cut down. And what I'm going to do is mark off a section which is going to be covered when we have finished stamping. So I'll just put it there. Wait till I grab my pen. So I'm just going to lightly mark on it so I can see when I'm stamping what's going to be covered, okay? And it just gives me a nice template to work with. So I'm using the Butterfly Basics card stamp set today, and it's from Stampin' Up. Now my Stampin' Up rep is Amanda Charlesworth, who is Scrimping Mummy on every social media you can think of. She's on Twitter, she's on Facebook, she's on YouTube, she's now on Instagram, she's on Pinterest. You'll find her all over. She also has a blog, and she has her Zibbit store where she sells her laces and accessories for your shabby vintage style crafting. But Stampin' Up is a new venture for her, and she's got us all addicted with it now. So I am going to start with the fern, and I am using my Distress palette today, in various colours. So wait to find my stamping block. Here we are. So put that on there. Oops. And I'm going to start with pale paint, and I'm going to put this back down because I will be stamping off and then stamping on so that I get a lighter shade. Right, so I am going to start off with pale paint, which is the third lightest green on the palette of Distress inks. So I am just going to stamp there, and then I'm going to turn, and I'm just going to, and it will give a really faint look. You can just see it no more, okay? So again, oops, that bit's not really stamped. There we go. Better. So I'm stamping off, and then I'm going to come on and come down this way now. So we've got that. Again, stamp off, and I'm going to come in there like that, and then we'll come down again here like that, and I'm going to have a light dark one coming in just down here, and then I'll have a really dark one just at the corner peeking out, and no more. Then we'll stamp off and come in again, just there. I think one more should do it with that. So stamp off, and then I'm going to come in at a bit of an angle. Is that it? No, I think I'm going to do another dark one coming up here. Okay, so I'm just stamping up, and then I'm just going to come in here, like that. I think that should be okay. For that, where did I put my, I'll do now. In fact, not one, because it's annoying me. That's better. Just cleaning my stamp off before I put it away again. Bit of water and a bit of muslin does the job. Oops. That's that one done. Then what I'm going to come in with now is the large flower, which is that one there. But I'm not going to be using the whole flower. Okay. So to start with, what I'm only inking up is this leaf here. And they're quite separated, so it's okay to do that. So I am going to go in with Shabby Shutters. Now, I don't know if this is going to work or not, so I'm going to stamp it off first. So let me see my ink. I just want to see the colour. Yeah, that's fine. So I am going to just go in, and you can see here if I show you, if you take your ink pad and just stamp, you can see, because it's a clear stamp, you can see where you're adding your ink to. Now I got a tiny wee bit on this upper leaf, so I'm just touching that with my finger and that will take it off. Okay, so all I'm doing here is just adding this leaf coming up that way, I think, like that. So if I show you, you can see the leaf coming up. Now I will be colouring that leaf in, so don't worry about that. So I'm just going to add a few of them in now, and I'm just doing what I've done before, using the ink pad to colour the leaf, and then just come in like that. And we can have them at different heights. So just maybe a wee touch in there. And I want a couple coming down at the bottom as well. And because I'm putting this as a border, it's very forgiving for any technical errors. So I'm just going to add that there. And then just the one here, I think. Yeah. So that's me for foliage wise. Not going to add any more foliage. So the colours I used there were Peel Paint and Shabby Shutters. Okay, come on, focus. I think it's probably because I've got white down on my table. But hey ho, nothing much we can do about that. So now I'm moving my stamp down, and I'm going to focus on the flower areas. Now the main one I'm going to use is the big flower at the top. So I have got purples this time. That one there that I showed the preview, the colours I used were Warm Lipstick and Candied Apple. Warm Lipstick was the large one, Candied Apple was the small flower. But I wanted something a wee bit more vibrant this time, so I have chose Shaded Lilac and Wilted Violet. So I'm going to go in with the Wilted Violet first, but it is very, very vibrant, so I'm going to stamp off first. And again, I'm using my stamp pad to see where I'm inking. Okay, so I'm only inking up the flower area. Okay, and if I turn that round, you might be able to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so there's no other ink on the rest of it. It is just on the flower. And then we're just going to stamp. And lift. Okay. And again, just for flower area. And I've got a little bit down the stem, so I'm actually using my finger just to wipe the colour up a bit. I don't want it as far down the stem as that. There we go. And I'm going to bring this one down here. And then I'll do a few stamped off. Yeah. Stamp off. And then we'll come on. And I'm just going to ever so slightly rock it on, so that I'm only getting a slight impression of it. And it'll look as though it's coming from behind that leaf. And I'm going to do similar here. It's just ever so slightly at the side. And I'll show you what I mean close up. So the one at the top there, you've got to remember, sorry? Just take your plaster off and go in the shower. Okay? It's fine, just take it off. It won't. I'm filming on you go. I have put it just behind this wee leaf here because I'm going to colour that leaf. The flower will be coloured as well, but it looks as though it's poking out from just behind that leaf. And the same down here, I've just added it at the corner. Okay. So that's for Shaded Lilac. No, Wilted Violet. What have I done with the lid off it? Ah, thunder. Honestly, if I had a brain, I would be dangerous sometimes. So I'm just giving my ink pad a wee, the stamp, just a wee wipe over. Because it's the same colour family I'm going in with, so it doesn't really matter too much if there's a wee bit of darker violet in with the lilac. So this time I'm going in with the Shaded Lilac. And again, I have got a wee bit further down the stamp than I want, so I'm just wiping it up with my finger. And then I'm just going to stamp on. Like that. Okay. Now, if you're a perfectionist, which I am not, you could easily mask off areas and stamp, but to be honest with you, that's too much hassle for me. I just don't have the patience for that, so I don't bother. Right, so I'm going to just add the different flower that's here on now.
Mum, can I take it tomorrow?
No, on you go in.
Because I can't take the plaster off.
Just go in, I'll get it off in a wee minute. Just go in for your shower, I'll get it when you come out.
Oh, so it would numb it. So I wouldn't feel anything.
Well, it'll wet it, which means it'll likely fall off.
Yeah. If it falls off in the shower, it will cut off.
Why did I have to have boys? They make life so awkward for themselves. So there we go, that's the different flower there. And I'm going to do another one down here, and then I think I'm going to call it a day for stamping with these images for now. We'll just go in and colour. Right, so that's that one off. Turn this up that way and stamping there. Perfect. Right, so for colouring, I like things simple, okay? I don't like to make life awkward for myself. So for me, easiest way for me to colour with such small areas, because you're not, if I show you that up close, these are not huge big flowers, okay? They're nice and small. So I am just going to take from the palette, okay? So I'm just putting a little squeeze of water on my pad, my cutting mat. I am taking my wilted violet. I'm taking a dry paintbrush, okay, and I'm just going to lightly go over the top of it, okay, and you can see that my paintbrush has accepted some of that, okay. Then all I'm doing is literally picking up an end of water, tiny amount, and then I'm just going in and lightly colouring the flower. I'm not being precise, I am just making sure that there's a little bit of colour on it. Like that. Okay. And if you want an intenser colour, if you want it a little bit darker, go back onto your pad and pick up another wee bit of ink. Okay. You're not going to do your ink pad any damage. And then just brush it up where you're wanting a bit more colour. And for instance, that part there is just slightly too dark for me now. Lift another wee bit of water and just blend it out a bit. Like that. Okay. So that's what we've got now. Now we've got a little bit here. So I'm just going in and colouring that. And that's a lot lighter. So I am using a very watered down colour. Then we'll come up to this one, which is quite strong and vibrant. So I'm going to pick up some more ink. And I'm just doing what I've done before, just rolling my paintbrush over the top of the pad. And then just brush on. Now this is almost dry, my brush. but I wanted the intense colour round the centre. So now I will pick up some water and then I will colour from the outside going in. Like that. Okay, so you can see a depth in the flower there. If that will focus. Come on. Yeah. I want to play ball tonight for some reason. It's really annoying actually. Yeah. So you can see it's intenser in the centre, okay. Now the actual centre of it, I'm going to go in with even more intense colour because I'm not going to dilute it in any way. Alright, so I'm just going in with my dry brush and I'm just touching the centre area. Like that. And I'm doing the same on this one now because the rest of it should have dried enough. And I'm just going to add a tiny wee bit of shading down at the bottom there and then pull some colour out a little bit. And it just adds a tiny wee bit of depth to them. Right, so the next colour we have got is the shaded lilac. So I'm going to just clean off my brush, wipe up the dirty water, which was minimal anyway, add a fresh bit of water down and pull my new ink pad out. So we're on to shaded lilac. So again, just picking up colour, and I'm picking up quite a bit of colour on my brush because it's not a strong colour. There we go. And I'm just going to do what I've done before and just colour the centre areas first with quite a dry brush. Alright. Then we have got these ones here, so I'm just going in lightly with my shade in there. Okay, and the same with this one. I'm actually going to go on tomorrow when I have got a bit of time, because Jaden's back at school tomorrow, and try and look out a software for this webcam that I can zoom, because the camera's in the best position that I can get it in, but I know that you're too far away to see this detailed work, so I want to be able to offer you that. So I'm just adding in a wee bit of colour here and there, and then I'm just going to pick up a little bit of water, and I have still got quite a bit of colour in my brush, and I'm just going to go in here and add that little bit of colour to the rest of the flower. So again, just picking up another wee bit of colour, add a little bit of water, and then just come in and add a wee bit of colour. And sorry this is a longer video, but I do want to show you the colour technique for it. So I'm just going in roughly with quite dry, and then I'm picking up some water and liquefying it like that. Another wee bit of colour would be good there. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So I'll just get one more over the side. And I've actually missed one of the other purple ones, so I'm just going to go back in. And because I'm using a darker purple, it won't matter, it won't contaminate my ink pad in any way. So I'm just diluting it slightly because it is a lighter shade of one. And I'm just coming in here with it, because that is one that's going to be peeking out from behind that leaf. Right, so that's where purple's done. Wipe off my brush. Wipe up a little bit of water. Wee squirt of water there. And then I'm going to get my shabby shutters. So I'm going to put that down here because I do need quite a bit of that for the leaves. So first of all, I'm going to go in with a relatively damp brush, it's not wet, and pick up my colour. Okay, so I'm just kind of rolling about in it. And then I'm going to go in where the shading is. Okay. Now I know that part isn't going to be seen, but it's just force of habit. And what I'm doing here is I'm giving the illusion that the flower has got a stem there. Pick up another bit of colour and come up here with it. And again, give the illusion that there is more than what we can actually see. Another damp bit of brush. Yeah, right, so now I am going to wet my brush, pick up a lot more colour, but it's diluted a lot more now, and then just gently brush. And I'm not using loads of brush strokes because it's not a watercolour paper, it is just a cardstock. So the more work you do on it, the more it will pill and bobble up on you, which isn't a good look. So I'm just trying to minimise my brush strokes. And you've got that. Okay. I am going to then go in with peel paint just to add a tiny little bit of shading just to some of the parts that I think need it. So again, I'm just putting it down on my glass cutting mat. Another wee squirt of water. Wet my brush and in we go. What?
I left my back wet.
Oh, you need to dry your back.
Can
You can hold the towel on two ends. Right, on you go because I'm still filming.
Sorry, YouTubers, so watching that video.
So there we go, we're just gently going in with a tiny wee bit of shading here and there. Now we'll add just a little bit in here. And the illusion of a stem. Maybe a bit more colour up here. And I'm using the lightest of touches here. I am literally touching the paper and no more, so that there isn't big blobs of colour going under it. No, because there was obviously someone walking down the street and go and get yourself dried and get your PJs on, get your teeth brushed and in bed. What? I'll get that when you're ready for bed. I think that's me done with that. I'm quite happy with that. So I'm just going to wipe up the last of this because we don't need any more. My wee brush quick clean out. Right, and then we're on to our next part, which is our panel. So I have got a bit of cardstock that is the same width as my, oops, just rolled it out in the ink. It's the same width as my card. So I just need to cut it for the centre panel. And I'm using my small, I think it's Tonic Studios. Yeah. It's a great wee tool. So let me see. Cover there. Let me see if that covers it. Yep, it does. Then what I'm going to do is I have got bundled sage here. And I am going to go in with some bundled sage and distress round my panel. I think it just marries them better together. Have a wee bit more colour on the corners. Right. Release it again. Right, so now I'm going to use the right, first I want the fern again, and I want bundled sage. Oops, stay. And I'm not using acrylic pad because I don't need it. So I'm just stamping on here. Okay, and then this one I want a lighter impression. So I'm stamping off and then I'll stamp on. And it is ever so fade. But I want another one because it's just too faded, I think. I'm just going to gently stamp off. There's a wee glob on my stamp that I don't want. On you, off of there. A wee bit off. So we'll try that again. Plunk it up. Lightly stamp off. And then coming in and stamp on. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. And then I am going to use the honeycomb from the stamp set. And my felt block. And this time I'm going on the bundled sage again. And again I'm going to stamp off and then stamp on. And it gives me a really, really faint honeycomb effect. You can see it. It is just very, very faint. I'll just cover that slightly for a second. It should focus better. Yeah. And it just gives it a nice effect. Then lastly, I am going to go in with my sentiment, and I'm going to use the happy birthday. Now, the last time I done this, I used the black. I think it was just a bit too bold. So what I'm going to do this time is go in with the peel paint, which is my darkest green in the colour scheme that I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to go in, and what I'm going to do is ink it up really well. Then I'm going to stamp off. Yeah, it's going to work fine. Let me see what the secondary stamp looks like first. Yeah, it's too light, so definitely a first stamp. So, ink it up again. It's always better to do it on scrap paper than on your project and then regret it. So it's inked up really well. Line it up as best I can and then stamp on. Let it transfer for a second and then lift up. And you're left with a great impression on it. So the next part is to put it all together, which won't take long. Like that. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. So what I'm going to put it on with is a little bit of silicone glue. because it will give it a tiny wee bit of dimension, and it's quick. Just 4 corners, centres, and then just to make sure it doesn't weigh down, a couple of wee bits in between. And then just to stop the glue hardening in the nib, I always pull my syringe back up, just ever so slightly, and it does make a difference. Then we're just going to line this up over the top, like that. And we can use our penciled in lines as a guide. And just gently touch it down. And you've ended up with that, which I think is really pretty. And you could, as I said, if you wanted, you could add maybe a few diamantes down here, or a bit of, what do you call it? Baker's twine, that was the name of it. You could add something like that down there. Personally, I like the blank space. I think it looks pretty. So, it's been a long tutorial, people, but that is the card and how you achieve it. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye for now.